Hey, ladies, welcome to The Power of the Ask, the podcast where we ditch the waiting and embrace the asking for what we truly deserve.
Welcome to The Power of the Ask. All right, Queen Lisa. Ever since I've met you, I've been so blessed by you. You are a shining example of hope and inspiration, but also love, and also being deadly in the courtroom, deadly in depositions, deadly. I'd like for you to share with our audience. Tell us about your story.
So I was born very middle-class family
Mm-hmm.
in Long Island, New York. And I was actually born in Brooklyn, but then we moved to Long Island.
Understood.
Right. Fiercely independent as a child. I probably drove my parents absolutely mad. And at about 17 or 18 years old, I decided that I wanted to really strike out on my own and go into the fashion business. And my parents had a different idea for me. My parents wanted me to, go on and go to college and go to medical school. And by the way, in retrospect, they might have been right, but that's a long way back now. And so for many years, I would say most of my life, really, I didn't have really a relationship with my parents because they were so fixated on what they thought that I should do. And I was so fixated on what I wanted to do. And that was who I was, right? So I very early on went into the fashion business, worked for Macy's New York as a sales manager part-time, went on to 7th Avenue and worked for a very large manufacturer. And I did that for many years and got, my first apartment in Manhattan and supported myself. By the time I was, 18, 19, I was living on my own. Wasn't getting any monetary support from my family and had to figure out how to pay the rent, how to make the bills, how to deal with, when all those kinds of things. And then at some point got married and adopted a child, my daughter Montana, who's now 33 and is going to have a baby, which is very exciting. But then got divorced. And as I was going through my divorce, I decided that I wanted to make a change from the fashion industry to actually going to law school. But I first had to go back and actually get my bachelor's degree. And so I now had a child. I was kind of, getting through my divorce and decided that I was going to go back, get my bachelor's degree, finished that, and I did at Fordham University. I got a BA there, and then went on to law school at Fordham University School of Law.
Excellent.
And decided that I was going to head into matrimonial law. That was going to be my focus, matrimonial and family law, because that's really how I got interested in it in the first place, was going through my own divorce, and thought I could be really great, frankly, at this. I had the ability to negotiate that a lot of people don't have when they're coming out of law school, because I had been negotiating on 7th Avenue, frankly, for, this major retailers, their markdown money, their returns, their, the goods are great on December 31st, but no longer on January 1st. The earthquake comes and all the goods have to go back. It's, all of those things, right? I lived through all of that. And so I decided that I was going to really get into litigation, and I wanted to handle complex cases, both custody and financial. And in 2013, I started my practice, and my practice is now about 50 people. It's one of the largest firms focused on matrimonial and family law in New York. And we do great work for high stakes custody and financial litigation. And we have an amazing team, and I have learned how to run a company and build a company. And it's been a great ride, frankly. It's been an amazing ride, and we do great work. So, we care about our clients. We're responsive to our clients, and we have learned how to be, I think, very strong litigators. And that is really my story. I am married 27 years now. It'll be 27 years actually in February. Married to a fabulous man
Fabulous.
who is the love of my life and who I actually met. I'll like do a little background now. Met him when I was 20, and he was kind of very charismatic kind of guy. And then he had been married already, didn't want to get married again, and so I said, okay, I'm out of this. And then went on to get married to someone else and ended up finding him again. And we got married and we have had the most amazing life together that anyone could have. So I am extremely, extremely grateful for that life together and for our relationship that is, I think, extraordinary. He is kind of he's not just my soulmate. People say that all the time, Precious, but somebody said to me, that we literally have two bodies with one brain. And I would say that so describes us. We wake up in the morning, we have an idea. It's the same idea.
Yep.
Decide we're going to do something or change something in our lives. We both woke up at the same time and had that idea. And it's amazing to have that in a life partner. And he has always been first and foremost in my life. And that's my story.
Queen. Now I just learned some things that I did some things about your background that I didn't know. Babe, you've been a shrewd negotiator, litigator since you were a teenager. You like how does someone get their first apartment and know what to do and then decide, you know what? And then your story with your first husband versus your second husband, going back to going back to get your bachelor's because you didn't have it, but you had all these great skill sets, going to law school and decided I want to do the complex matrimonial law. I'm like, so she already likes the hard stuff because that does something for me. Thank you for sharing that and also the love I heard. And I always feel like when we're at events and you go home, you're like, I'm going home to the man that I love. Thank y'all. It's been great. One of the men I love, and that's why I respect you so much. The curly hair, the fashions, she's all that.
Well, you're right. I mean, I think that people have to have priorities.
Yes.
Certainly my business is a major priority, but my husband is my biggest priority.
And we see it. That's why I say I love you for that because I've never had that. So when I say this, y'all, I'm saying it from experience. When she leaves, she shows the love, but she's going home to the man that she loves. That means she's done every priority thing that day, but the biggest is at home. So Queen, I kind of want to talk about like a pivotal ask that you had to do. And we know that everything you asked for, you're not going to get. But what was a powerful ask that you decided to make, no guarantees, that changed the trajectory of your life?
Okay, so this is highly, highly personal. Okay, and most people never hear this part of my story. Okay, but I am going to share it with you. It
Please.
really was probably the most powerful ask that I've ever made, and it truly changed my entire life. And it resulted with my fabulous husband. So when I was 20, I actually was at a restaurant called One Fifth Avenue, and I was with two friends who were working in the fashion industry with me, and we were all sitting there. And my now husband walked over to the table, and he asked for a date with my then friend. And I'm thinking, this guy is so cool. Like, I wish he would have asked me, right?
Yeah.
And she's hemming and hawing and not sure that she wants to do this. And I said, go out with him. And she goes out with him and she says, he is just not for me. And she said, you would probably really like him. I said, you know what? Give me his number. And I was 20, right? And so I did. I called him and I said, I know you went out, with so-and-so, and I'd really like to go out with you. And of course he said yes. And we went out and we had a relationship for, several years at that point. And as I said, he did not want to get married. He had been married, I think, many years prior. And we have an age difference between us. And so we dated for about 2 or 3 years, and then that was it. And then we remet, and then it was really up to him to ask, right? And he asked and he asked and he asked and he asked and he asked, right? And finally, I did get divorced, and finally we got together. And 27 years later, last year I asked him again to marry me. He asked me to marry him again, and here we are. So I would say it was really the courage to. I knew the minute I saw him. I will tell you this: the minute I saw him the first time, I knew he was going to be my husband. There was no question about it. I knew he was going to be my husband, and I remember saying this to the two, women I was with, and they said, "You're just like out of your mind." And I said, "No, he is the one." So, and he turned out to be the one.
I'm clutching imaginary pearls. I'm verklempt. What an amazing story about the power of the ask, and that y'all still ask each other 27 years later, and the clarity and vision you had when you saw him. No ask has a guarantee. Many of us have had rejection, something we really wanted, something that we really went out for, something that we thought we stacked the deck to get it. Has rejection ever showed up for you?
Sure.
And if it has, what did it teach you about life, career, and relationships?
So look, I'm a litigator. We win most of our cases,
Come
but
on
we lose
now.
some, right? We lose
Come
them. That's
on.
rejection. Okay. I mean, it happens, right? And when you actually have that loss, you have to pick yourself up and figure out how to make it better for the person that you are advocating for. Not everything is smooth, and every day there are issues. When you run your own business, you know this, Precious. It's tough, right? You're going to have problems. You're going to have difficulties. You're building client relationships, but you're also trying to guide people through their difficult times. What we do, I think, is one of the most stressful jobs that you can have, which is to be guiding people through issues about their children and their finances. There's no greater stress points than those. Children and money, it doesn't get any more stressful. So you're going to have moments where I'm not sure that I would say rejection, but you're not going to prevail all the time, right? And so there's going to be those days that are like loser days, and you got to take your wins, and you do have to segregate. And you talked about this a bit. You have to segregate your feelings when things are going badly in one part of your life from the other parts of your life. And this is something that I'm still working on, because I think that it's really important not to get caught up in the difficulties of your day, that you actually focus. Okay, that's like a difficulty. I'll have to deal with that. If that's over here, and I've got to also focus on this, and I can't spend my whole day about the difficult moment. I have
Right.
to move on, and the difficult moment is going to be here, and I have to move on and continue working and moving this along. And I think that that's something that is very important.
I'm loving that. I'm loving that. Another question I want to ask you, we often are asked, how do we come across as so confident and having the confidence to advocate for others? There's a pre question before that. Queen Lisa, whenever I see you, don't matter if I'm with Latrice, I'm with board members, I'm like, I can't wait to see what Lisa wears. I can't wait to see her hair. I can't wait, because your packaging to me goes along with your whole personality. You are so fashionable. I don't have to see labels or anything to know Lisa gonna stunt. Lisa's gonna stunt, and she does it beautifully, teaching me how to stunt. And I know your clothes don't make you, you make your clothes. But is that part of your confidence, is how you show up and show out in the world? And does that help you with your confidence and the confidence to advocate for others?
So, it's interesting. I think that it really does. So, as I said, I was in the fashion business. So I do
Obviously.
love fashion, right? And I adore clothing. Okay. But
Yep.
it does make you feel good, right? When you're wearing something that makes you feel good, that you feel that you are going to advocate well for someone because you feel either super comfortable or super confident, or it looks great, or you feel that this is the right outfit to make that, that bold cross examination,
So,
right? Or that bold oral argument, or you're going to stand out in some way. It is definitely part of who I am. There's no question about it. And I do spend time on it. Okay. My husband sees me running around at night, figuring it all out. Okay. It's not something that I leave for the morning to, to like go through the closet and have like a complete discombobulation of our bedroom. Okay. I have pulled it all out. I have put it all out. I have thought about it, and it's all there so that it's organized in the morning when I wake up. And I've already decided, like, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel in the courtroom? How do I want to feel in the deposition? Um, it's about how I feel essentially. But if I feel good in my clothes, if I feel good about how I look, it makes me more confident,
come
and
through.
then I can feel like I can advocate better for someone. So it does make a difference.
I totally agree. And Queen, when I'm with my friends and I always tell them about you or you meet them, they're like, "You're right, precious." I said, "But pay attention to her personality too. She's amazing." But with that package, it's so welcoming, but it's also I take everything I do seriously, and it's in the details.
It is.
Ladies, are you ready to take control of your future? Do you dream of financial stability, freedom, and a life that truly deserves you?
For over 20 years, Savvy Ladies has empowered women from all walks of life to make smart financial choices, achieve our goals, and build a brighter future.
We built Savvy Ladies as a community of women supporting women. We offer free financial educational programs, a trusted helpline, and guidance and advice from America's top financial professionals.
You can access the financial helpline at savvyladies.org or where you get your apps under Savvy Ladies. Savvy Ladies equips you with the knowledge, confidence, and support you need to thrive. So don't wait. Join Savvy Ladies today and start building your financial confidence and well-being now.
So, Queen, when it comes to, the power of the ask and actually asking for things, how do you decide strategically in your request how to be considerate of the person that you're speaking to make this ask while also staying true to your goals at the same time and making sure that both needs are met?
So I'm not going to say that I'm always the most considerate, because I that's not exactly what I would say people will always think about me for.
Hmm.
Right? I am
I
very
see you outside of, you being a matrimonial attorney. We're Savvy Ladies board members. So I see a different side than maybe your clients or opposing adversaries. I get that. But also I'm sure you've made asks of people outside of that where you were thinking about the timing and things like that. And also,
sure.
what do you need?
Sure. I think you always have to think about the timing of your ask. Okay.
Hmm.
And I have to think, and you also have to think how you're going to present your ask, and what is the other person going to be thinking about your ask. And are you prepared with the answers that they're for the questions that they're going to pose about what you're asking for them to give, do, whatever it is. Right. And I think that you need to be very confident in your ask. I don't ask for things that I think are impossible, frankly. Okay. I think that's the first thing. I
Right.
might ask for things that are a little bit more difficult to obtain, but I don't ask for the impossible because I like to win, frankly. And part of winning is getting what I ask for. And so strategically, you have to ask for something that is reasonable, that is going to be satisfactory, not just to you, but to the other person as well that you're asking from, right? I think that
Yes.
it's a give and take. It can't just be a take. It's got to be a give and a take. And I think you always want to know, what does that other person need also? What can you give back to that other person? Look, it's not a trade-off, but
Right, right, right.
but it is a thought process that,
Yes.
you can't just be out there asking all the time. You have to be giving too. And so I think that you have to know who you're asking, why you're asking this particular person, and know what you could actually give as well.
I hope you all are listening to Queen Lisa because she is dropping straight fire and straight gems. When it comes to both of us being the co-hosts of the Power of the Ad podcast, it was important that, our personalities mesh well together. It was important that there was mutual respect and that we don't have the same skill sets. I also think the power of the ask comes in so many different ways in every facet of your life. And so we want to make sure you all are understanding that. So she's dropping gems and fire. Queen, we know in the power of the ask, sometimes a lot of times you get it and sometimes you don't. What has been a powerful ask that led to unexpected blessings going above and beyond what you even thought?
Well, obviously they ask for my husband. Okay, that I can't ignore that, right?
Yep.
And then the ask in terms of, frankly, starting my company. And I don't know if that was an ask as much as, it was a thought process. And I had to ask myself, could I do this? Okay. Because sometimes you have to ask yourself as well, right? Is this doable? Is this something that I want to do? Am I going to be able to get up every day and do this? And that, I think, asking yourself some of these questions, internally, to push yourself forward is probably the most important ask, really. Because
Ooh.
at the end of the day, you have all these great people around you who are going to support you and help you and love you and all of those things, but you have to be self-motivated. You have to be able to ask yourself, is this what you want to do? And I don't really think people should be doing what they don't want to do, by the way.
Did y'all
Okay.
catch that? Did y'all catch that?
I honestly don't. And I say to people this all the time: if you're not happy in what you're doing, you should be doing something else. We get to live once. Okay. That's my view, right? Once. And so you better be happy as you go around that one time, completely happy. Now, that
Yes.
doesn't mean everything goes well every day, but
Right.
overall, you should be happy.
Queen, I totally agree with you. And I wasn't happy litigating anymore. I wanted to be the greatest criminal defense attorney ever. And I never really got that opportunity. And when I came out in 2007, 2008, so we already know what happened. So I was grateful for my opportunities to litigate, but that's what I wanted. But this unexpected detour happened and it led to so many blessings. Queen, we ask this question of every guest on our show, so I'll ask you: why is the power of the ask so crucial for women, especially financially?
Look, you said it, closed mouths don't get fed. Okay. You have to ask. If you do not ask, you're not going to get. It's a very simple concept. And I
Yes.
ask every day. I mean, I ask on behalf of my clients. I ask on behalf of myself. I ask on behalf of my family. You're constantly asking. And financially, to get ahead, you have to ask. You have to ask. You have to ask to to get your bills paid. You have to ask to get your clients. You have to ask to satisfy your clients' needs. We are constantly asking. And if you're going to be afraid to ask, then, frankly, you're not going to move forward, because somebody else is going to be asking for what you
With
want.
less skill, less talent, very much.
So you got to ask.
I agree, Queen. And, if I were asked that question by you, that was the same answer. It is closed mouths don't get fed. And the more you ask now, the less you will later. So practice asking more now. There was a time I used to ask, ask trusted individuals, ask for speaking out, paid speaking opportunities, paid training, or to put me in contact with others and have everything lined up to make it easier for them. I did that so much that I'm so proud that these same people and even others refer me. It doesn't mean I stopped asking. I just don't ask as much anymore because it was important to show that pitching for profit, something that our Queen Lisa just said, you have to ask yourself first before you start asking others because it will be incongruent internally. And asking financially, we all see what's going on in the economy. We all see the big companies that are laying off everybody and their mother. I enjoy what I do because I never dial it in on stage. I love looking in people's eyes and being an engaging speaker. That's worth paying for. It's worth paying for proprietary formulas and being able to stand up and stand out regardless, whether there's a PowerPoint or not. Finally, you all, we're so happy that you all watch, listen, and spend time with us on the Power of the Ask podcast. We've had so many amazing guests, and we want you to check us out too. You heard what Lisa actually does. Check her out. You'll see that she's been winning these major awards, not on popularity, but on results. You're seeing she's a super lawyer. You're seeing she's winning all of these major awards that matter to attorneys. And they also matter to other clients and prospects that will make them want to come to her. It's because of that. She puts it out there. She shows what these awards and achievements are. And you also see a side of her with her husband, her child. So this is a full woman. She's not just what she does. She's so much more. And every guest we have on this show, we hope to share the same. So check out Lisa on LinkedIn and anywhere that you can. Check me out on LinkedIn and our other platforms. And keep coming back to the Power of the Ask podcast, co-hosted by Queen Lisa Zeiderman, managing partner of Miller Zeiderman, and Precious Williams, proud founder and CEO of the Perfect Pitch Group. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe and keep coming back. We get better and better. Lisa, do you have anything you want to say?
And rate us. Rate us.
Rate us. Comment. Do some things. You can even suggest guests too that we might not have seen, we might not know about.
Exactly.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Precious, for being my co-host. Amazing. Amazing.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Power of the Ask, ladies.
Don't forget to like, review, and subscribe to spread the love with #PowerOfTheAsk.